Sweet. I think I saw a message on Zoom and then it disappeared. Yeah, there it is. I see the little symbol thing. Cool. All right. Oh, sweet. I think I saw a message on Zoom and then it disappeared. Okay, I gotta mute it because it's on my other screen. Sweet. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Think Like a Trader series. We are doing this on a weird week. Normally, we like to do this on like the second week of the month. Um, this was a weird month. We wanted to get some different content in there. We had some scheduling conflicts this month. It's just been kind of a wacky month, but we're here, we're back. So, first thing I want to do is I want to have some positive vibes. So in the chat, type up what is one thing, a positive thing that has happened over the last 7 days. It does not have to be trading related. It can be trading related. Just something positive. We always like to start with those things. It sets us off on the right foot, the right kind of energy for the meeting, especially for today's topic, which is probably one of the most plaguing topics in the world of trading. I'm very excited to dive into a little bit here with you guys. So, what do we got? Something positive. For me, my positive is also going to be a bit of a teaser for you. Um, I've been using Travis for years. For years, has been working on a planner, and he has like the first iteration of it, call it beta iteration, and I've been using it for like a week and a half, and it's awesome. So stay tuned because you guys will have access to it at some point after we work out the kinks. Peter said transition to a new house. Oh, to a new house sit. Good views of coastal region. That's awesome. Anthony made one trade this morning, 16 pips out, 17 minutes. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Adam made a new simple trading plan. Simple, easy to follow. It's gonna be well. Perfect. Janelle, super close to vacation time for me. Awesome. And Ben created an all-terrain walker for dad so he can keep gardening. Dude, that's sick. Love it, love it, love it. Harry took a nice long walk. Perfect. Sweet. Well, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive into today's topic. You'll notice I'm very creative with my titles on these things. So let's take a look at the title on this one. Overtrading sucks. That's the title for today. I figured it was pretty straightforward. Andrew has a really good a good win as well. Super awesome. I woke up this morning. That's awesome. So let me move my Zoom windows over so I can talk to you guys. Overtrading sucks, doesn't it though? It's kind of one of those things that is likely the number one challenge for the trading industry as a whole. This goes beyond our community. This goes beyond everybody. I mean, this is a very big problem. I read a lot of books. Some of it has to do with the way I think. Some of it is personal development. Some of it has to do with trading, obviously. And almost all of them discuss this plague of overtrading. Almost all of them. I'm sure you have probably experienced it if you've done any kind of trading at all. You've probably experienced this, and we're gonna crack open this nut a little bit today and really dive into Janelle. I've never. Oh yeah, sure. A really super awesome in the last week listening to Trading in the Zone. Oh yeah, yeah. We have a really fun acronym for that, Andrew. You should ask Janelle about it. She made it. It's a really cool acronym. Anyway, it's a Think Like a Trader series. Overtrading sucks. um, Today's agenda, we're going to first define overtrading. What does it mean? Because it's important to identify exactly what we're talking about. We're going to also talk about triggers, and then we're going to talk about something, it's kind of fun to say, something called Ananpu. Okay, we're going to talk about Ananpu and how that can actually help you with these so-called triggers. And then we're going to talk about responses and reflections, which I actually changed that. I changed that to external versus internal solutions. So I apologize, I didn't change it on this slide in particular. There we go. And then behavior first. We're going to revisit this concept of behavior first. So first and foremost, let's define overtrading. This is what it looks like. Entering multiple trades after already hitting your daily target. Chasing moves, chasing. I love that word because it just describes it perfectly to me. Chasing moves that don't align with your setup, trying to make back a loss immediately instead of resetting. I found this as well. Overtrading isn't just trading a lot, it's trading without discipline or edge, which statistically erodes performance over time. It's not just trading a bunch of trades, it's trading a bunch of trades foolishly, basically, right? And like I said, we've all been there. This isn't like if you're feeling attacked right now, aha, you're overtrading. Okay. Because this isn't meant to attack. This is meant to bring awareness. And we'll talk more about awareness here in a second. I want to talk about these quotes. These are some quotes I found online about what it feels like to be revenge trading. So revenge trading is that whole I took a loss, I need to make up for this loss. I need to. And I found these interesting quotes. Okay, so we're going to go through these quotes one by one real quick here. It's like watching yourself do something you don't want to do and not being able to stop. And I just want you guys, this is definitely rhetorical. You don't have to respond, but I want you to think about which of these quotes kind of resonates with you the most. It hijacks your brain. I always had a reason why it was okay this time. You become incredibly good at justifying things you never thought you would do. Rock bottom isn't one moment, it's a series of moments you keep ignoring. You lie to everyone and eventually you lie to yourself. Type a one in the chat if at least one of these resonates with you when you do get into that revenge trading mode, because it happens to all of us at least once. Okay, seeing a bunch of ones in the chats. We're seeing some denial in the chats as well. Mostly ones though. Um, Now I'm gonna apologize to you guys because I lied to you. These are not quotes about revenge trading. These are actually quotes about addictions. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The parallel. Now I've talked about this before on these kinds of trainings where there's this crazy parallel between trading, like revenge trading, and having an addiction. Okay? And so those quotes were all from people who were describing what it's like to have an addiction. Isn't that interesting? Ultimately, when it comes to revenge trading and addictions, it's take my one back. You can't. Nope, too late. There's always this pattern. Okay, there's a trigger. Now, by the way, I look at it as a blessing. I've been blessed to have a lot of people in my life who have suffered from having an addiction, mostly with alcohol, but there's other ones too, just family members, extended family, closer family, um, friends, and it's a real challenge, right? And this is why I've studied a lot about this stuff even before I became a trader. So this is the way it works. There's typically a trigger. The trigger is usually some form of emotional pain that creates a crazy amount of urgency, right? And think about your trading, right? When does that happen? Oh my gosh, you held on to a trade, right? You held on. You're like, oh no, this is going to reverse. It's going to turn back around. It's going to be in my favor. It'll be profitable. And before you know it, you're down 100 pips. And you're like, nah, that did not do what I thought it was going to do. Emotional pain. It creates this weird overwhelming sense of urgency. You get kind of this craving to get rid of that pain. Your brain seeks for solutions. You lose control a little bit. You get this tunnel vision. You ignore all your other indicators. You ignore everything that you know about trading and you just start pushing some buttons. And you go through this dopamine loop. The dopamine is the addiction part. Okay. The rest of this is not really an addiction. It's the dopamine part that makes it feel like kind of like a craving. And I'll tell you what, if at any point in time you've done the revenge trading thing and it worked out in your favor, and you actually made up the pips and maybe even got profitable, you're just training your brain that it's okay to do that. Okay. And it's very detrimental. And then afterwards you feel guilty. And that doesn't feel good. Shame also is associated with that. Best feeling ever. Yeah, okay. So it's just interesting to me. So we have a lot of folks that ask me about how do I stop over trading. I want you guys to know the best and most effective way to think about this is how do I overcome the addiction of overtrading? And when you start thinking of it in that light, it shifts the way you view it. And I want you to know if you do overtrade, there's a part of that that is 100% your responsibility, but there's another part of that that's not actually your fault. Okay? There is a difference between responsibility and fault. I'll give you an example. Okay? Let's say you're in a dark alley for some weird reason. You're just, it's nighttime, you're in Chicago in a dark alleyway because I don't know. I don't know why. That's a really dumb idea. So you're in this dark alleyway and you get robbed. Ah, imagine that. Okay. You get robbed. Are you a victim? Yeah, you got robbed. Is that your fault that you were robbed? No, absolutely not. Is it your responsibility the fact that you were in a dark alleyway in Chicago at night? Yeah, yeah, there's a little piece of responsibility there. It's not your fault you were robbed. However, why were you there, right? It's the same kind of thing when it comes to this. Because there is a level of insane amounts of dopamine that can be hit. This is the same thing as gambling, by the way. Okay. Um, Revenge trading is not really trading, it's actually a form of gambling. All right. And so that dopamine is exactly what creates it or makes it to feel uncontrollable. All right. So let's start looking at it from that standpoint. So let's talk about these triggers and an Anbu. So sometimes the trigger is a sharp hit to the ego. Like I shouldn't have lost that. Oh, it's my worst. I hate that so much. I hate it when I do a whole analysis. This happens to me a lot, actually, by the way. I do a whole analysis. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a buy. It's going to go to this point. And I hit a buy, break even. I hit a buy, small loss. I hit a buy, break even. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. No more. And then it goes. Right after I'm out, then it goes without me. Oh my gosh, it's a hit to the ego. Oh, I shouldn't have lost any of that. I was totally right the whole time. Guess what? In trading, there's no right or wrong. Okay, you just act based on the information you have in front of you. Another trigger would be frustration or anger at the market. Another one, a compulsive need to fix the loss immediately. It's not even about making money anymore. It's about getting back to even. Okay, if that's ever been kind of a thought, that these are all the triggers. If you know these, if you're aware of them, we'll talk about awareness again here in a moment. That's awesome. That's perfect. Because now that you're aware of it, the next time it happens, we can have a plan. Okay? There's like it's like I don't know, for those of you, I think everyone on here is older than me. Let me look. Yeah, everyone on here is older than me. Okay, cool. So you guys probably remember the DARE program, whether it was you in the DARE program or your kid, depending on how much older than me you are. All right. But if you remember the DARE program, a whole part of that DARE program is, hey, you should know right now the answer to the question, do you want to do this drug? Right? Like right now, if somebody offered it to you, what's your answer? Right? And you plan it ahead of time, right? It's the same kind of concept here. You now know these triggers, you're aware of them. Next time it happens, let's have a plan so that we know exactly what we're going to say, what we're going to do. Cameron, don't get smart with me. He says it depends. Okay, so, so that we can actually stop it. Okay. Very, very cool. So we're gonna do, oh, there's a timer. I didn't mean to push that button. What did I hit here? Uh Shoot, escape. Okay, restart. There we go. So we're gonna talk about Ananpu. Ananpu is something called a mind model. It's something that I've learned from my business mentor. Who is also like my life mentor and also kind of like my therapist. Anyway, so Ananpu is a mind model. I don't think he actually invented this. I think he learned it from somewhere, but it's still fantastic. Okay, it is an acronym. It stands for notice, awareness, notice, process, understanding. Okay, I want to walk through these. So the first one is awareness. So the idea here is that you are now aware of these triggers that cause this concept of overtrading. Okay, there's an awareness to it. Now that you are aware of those triggers, you'll start to notice them. Okay, do you see the difference there? You're aware of them is like premeditated. You notice them in the moment. So aware, now you notice it. This is where it gets a little trippy, but this is literally how it works in the brain. Now you're aware that you're noticing it. Okay. It becomes a conscious thing where you're like, wait a minute. Yeah, this is what we talked about on that Think Like a Trader series. This is the trigger. I'm noticing it and I'm aware that I'm noticing it. And you notice that you're aware that you're noticing it. You see how that works? It's like a double layer of awareness notice. Then you follow the process. This is where we got to come up with a process that to follow, but you follow the process, and when it all is over and the dust settles, you have an understanding. You get it. Now it's like, oh my gosh, the amount of times I have sabotaged my own trading because of this silly thing called overtrading is insane, right? And now that with that understanding, you can move forward with progress. Once you understand a behavior, and I just made a little parentheses with the you just to make fun of you Canadian folk. So once you understand a behavior, you can intentionally change it. Once you understand it, you can change it. Very simple. Any questions up to this point? It's pretty straightforward, right? It's a lot easier said than done. I'm very well aware of that. Okay. But it is very doable, extremely doable. And every single person on this call is 100 million times percent capable of doing it. 100%. Um, so external versus internal solutions. Is over trading, is that an external or an internal problem? What do you guys think? Is it an external thing or is it like an internal thing? It's kind of tricky. Internal could be a mix of both. Yeah. Let's talk. It depends. There you go again. Both. Yeah. You know, when I first was thinking about this and making this slide, I was kind of thinking it was both, but then I shifted the question to is the root cause of over trading external or internal? And that's where internal became pretty clear, right? It manifests itself in an external way. So the actual pushing of buttons and those kinds of things, that's obviously external, but it all sources and starts from internal. And that's where discipline becomes a word that we use a lot. And so here are some external solutions to an internal problem. Okay. This is not going to solve the problem. If we were to again compare this to something like an addiction, let's say somebody smokes cigarettes and they want to stop smoking cigarettes. Let's say they take the cigarette box and they put it in a drawer and they lock it. That's an external solution to this internal problem of wanting to smoke. Does that get rid of their desire to smoke? No. Does that stop them from smoking? Hmm, it kind of it makes it harder, just a little bit. Now, what if they give that key to their spouse? Oh, now it's a little bit harder, right? Now they have an accountability partner, right? So these are external things that could help, and I'm not saying they're worthless by any means. There's value in them. However, this is ultimately an internal problem. Therefore, the internal solutions far, far more effective. But let's talk about external first. You can set a loss limit, especially those of you trading with prop firm stuff. Those kinds of platforms, all of them have some kind of um, loss limit where you say, look, if I lose X amount of dollars, kick me out for the day. I can't trade. I cannot even if I wanted to push a button, won't work. Okay. Very, very cool. You can also do a number of trades limit. You can limit how many trades you take. I believe it's a per week thing for Top Step specifically, but um, take a look at that. See if any of those settings would make sense to you. Because that way, if you literally can only take 5 trades, for example, you're going to be pretty careful with what 5 trades you take, won't you? You can set a scheduling limit. Um, Again, those softwares oftentimes have things like this. Or sometimes what you can do if you're tech savvy, you can actually set a limit on accessing a certain site. So for example, you can say topstepx.com or tradingview.com. You can actually put limiters on that. Of course, that's a little more technical, but you can do it. That's a thing. You can have an accountability partner. Extraordinarily effective. So far on this list, that is the most effective. What it does is it uses the power of guilt and shame in your favor. Because, oh my gosh, if, heaven forbid your accountability partner, let's just say is your spouse, man, that would be embarrassing, right? To like go to your spouse and be like, I lost X amount of dollars. Like, ooh, that's not fun. That's not a fun conversation to have. So an accountability, yeah, good one. They're putting the shame from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's from Game of Thrones, right? Shame. It's awesome. So, accountability partner, very, very highly effective. I do recommend it being someone close, a spouse, a parent, a child, older child, obviously, not like a 2-year old. It's not going to do you any good. So, very, very highly, or best friend, even. Reminders routine. Oh, I just heard this from a book. Where a gentleman says that what he does is his worst moments in trading, he has screenshots and recordings of them, and he watches them before his new session every day as a reminder of what not to do. It's painful to look at, but he's like, I'm not going to be that person today. Right? Pretty cool. That's highly effective. Now let's look at some internal solutions. An AMPU. Focus on an AMPU hard. Beware of the awareness of your triggers and notice them. Come up with a process. What exactly are you going to do the next time you feel those triggers? Exactly. Very clear, concise steps. What does it look like? If you're trading on a laptop, maybe it just looks like closing the lid. If you're trading on a desktop, maybe if you plug it into a power supply, you just shut off the power supply. It's probably not good for your hard drive, but you get what I'm saying. Like you can come up with a process for that and what that exactly looks like. Maybe it's just stand up, walk away, and have your spouse come in and close all the windows, just so you're not even close to tempted, right? An AMPU, very highly effective tool for solving an internal problem. Training, train yourself, feed your brain with this kind of information. Look, trading is it's like if you're to learn a sport or a musical instrument. Let's say you wanted to get good at a sport or you're on a team and that team only shows up for game days. That's not good. They need to practice, they need to drill, they need to work on the way they think. They need to be coached, right? Trading is no different. Don't just show up for game day. In between game days, train, drill, feed your mind with things about trading with books, podcasts, this TLAT there, that's Think Like a Trader, these videos, watch them. Okay. Keep feeding your mind those things. Books and podcasts, purpose reminders. Remind yourself every day out loud would be more effective. Remind yourself why you're trading. What is the purpose behind your journey here? Because I know to make money, duh. For what? What is that money for? Is it so that you now have more time to spend with loved ones? Is it to get rid of the job? That's totally acceptable. That was my motivation when I first quit engineering. I wasn't doing it with trading. I was doing it in the world of business, but the same concept, right? What is the purpose behind it? And I would suggest you do something called the 7 layers deep exercise, which is where you just keep asking why 7 times. So you might say, okay, why am I wanting to trade? This is layer one. Why do I want to trade? Make money. Then you plug that in. Why do I want to make money? Spend more time with family. Why do I want to spend more time with family? Answer that question. Why do I want to do that? You do that 7 layers in. By the time you get to layer 5 and 6, it's getting deep. It'll get very deep. And I want you to take your time with it. Don't rush it. Spend a good 30 minutes on that. Pay very close attention and come up with that something that you can read every single day to remind you of your purpose behind trading. A lot of times what I'll say is, and I know this for some of you, for some of our members, they get mad at this. So I apologize. But it is true. So a lot of times I'll say, the reason you're not where you want to be is you're not committed enough. And what I mean by that is not that you don't show up. Of course you do. What I mean by that is your discipline is not reflecting your words. Your actions don't match your words. That's a lack of commitment. Okay, in anything you do. It doesn't, not just trading. If you want to lose weight, right? And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose 40 pounds this year." Right? And I have a plan every month I'm going to lose X amount of pounds. And then you're sitting here stuffing your face with brownies every day. Right? Like, are you really committed to losing the weight? I would say no, right? Your actions actually dictate your level of commitment, not your words. It starts with words, but it needs to convert and shift into actions. Okay, so that purpose reminder can help you to maintain that level of commitment every single day. Keep in mind, in all of this, okay, just like if it is somebody recovering from having an addiction, in all of this, keep in mind that I know and that you should know that you are a human being, and every once in a while, you'll make a mistake. And that's okay. As long as that mistake is somewhat nipped in the bud, as a quick reminder, forgive yourself, move on. Okay? Very important. In fact, right now, do it now. Forgive yourself from any past overtrading mishaps and move on. Today's a new day. Tomorrow's an even newer day, right? Um, you got to move forward. I love the phrase "Don't cry over spilled milk." I love it. It's so accurate. So, that said, let's talk more about behavior first. This is kind of one of those chicken and egg scenarios. What comes first, belief or behavior? Right? So if we were to go back to losing weight, is it that if somebody wants to lose weight, they have to first believe that they can lose the weight, and then that motivates them to do the actions to actually lose the weight? Or is it that they do the actions even without the belief to lose the weight, and then now that they start losing weight, they believe? Which comes first, the belief or the behavior? It's really tricky. I will tell you this, in my experience and in a lot of way too much studying, because I'm a nerd, behavior is always first. Okay. And I have this video that we've seen before, but it's definitely worth watching again. In fact, I need to reshare. I forgot to share with sound. Were you guys seeing the slides that whole time? Was I sharing the right thing? Yeah, I was. Okay. I see it on YouTube. I'm just making sure. It was weird when I just tried to share again. It tried to go on the other screen. They're diet brownies. That's fair. You got stevia in there instead of sugar. All right. So, behavior first. How to change your trigger and belief surrounding it. Change your behavior. Changing your actual actions, your behaviors actually changes your belief. As a reminder, we did talk a few months ago about Pavlov's dogs, right? So basically, the concept of this experiment was this guy would ring a bell and then give his dogs a treat. And then he'd ring a bell, give them another treat. And he would do this over and over again to the point where when he would ring the bell, they would salivate because they knew, hey, I'm going to get a treat. He would undo that same thing. This is what most people don't talk about. He would actually undo that. So what he would do is he would ring a bell, not give them a treat. Oh, that behavior shift kind of probably sucked for those dogs, right? They're probably like, what the heck, dude? Where's my treat, right? And then he'd ring the bell and not give them a treat. And eventually he would ring the bell, they would stop salivating. They wouldn't even pay attention to the stupid bell. They're like, no, I'm not getting a treat anymore. And they were untrained from that, right? So no food after the bell. They no longer believed they would get the food when the bell is rung. The behavior shifted those dogs' beliefs. Okay, it's very, very similar, obviously, to us.
Welcome to the
Okay, well,
Welcome to the
here we go.
explainer. Okay, so let's
So you guys can hear that okay? Perfect. All right.
be real. Have you ever tried to think positive your way into a new habit, only to find yourself, right back where you started a week later? Today, we're digging into a pretty radical idea. What if we've been trying to change all wrong? So let's get right to the heart of it. What really comes first? Is it belief or is it behavior? Do we have to think our way into taking new actions, or do we actually act our way into a whole new way of thinking? Conventional wisdom has a very clear answer, but you might be surprised where the evidence actually points. You've basically got two camps here. On one side, there's the mindset approach. You know this one. It's all about positive affirmations, vision boards, telling yourself you're a confident person. But then there's the other side, the behavioral approach. This one says, forget the talk for a second. The secret to becoming confident isn't in the thought, it's in the action.
Okay, so if the mindset stuff is everywhere, why does it so often leave us feeling stuck, or sometimes even a little bit like a fraud? Let's unpack this mindset paradox.
Well, according to our source material, you've likely fallen into what's called the incongruency trap. And it's that really jarring, uncomfortable feeling you get when the new story you're trying to tell yourself just doesn't match the life you're actually living. And this is really where it all breaks down. Let's say you stand in the mirror and say, I am a disciplined person. But then you immediately hit the snooze button 3 times. See, your brain isn't dumb, it's a logic engine. It sees this huge contradiction and basically says, yeah, nice try, but the evidence doesn't support the claim. So it rejects the new belief because you haven't given it any real proof. All right, so let's get to the good stuff, the solution. It all starts by flipping this entire script on its head. Instead of trying to think your way into a new you, you're going to act your way into it. I love this quote because it just nails it. A belief isn't just some random thought floating around in your head. It's an opinion that you've actually placed a bet on, with your time, your energy, your action. You don't just think you're a runner, you become a runner by actually running. The belief is forged in the fire of doing. And if you need more convincing, just look at the data from our source. It is absolutely staggering. Trying to change your life through mindset alone, it has a tiny 1% success rate. 1%! But when you shift your focus to changing your behavior, the effectiveness just skyrockets to 80%.
I just really want to quick interrupt it here where this data comes from. It keeps referencing source material. This source material, so in this particular case, the mindset study was done by University of Michigan back in 2018, I want to say, where they actually took a whole lot of sources and they had a control group and they did a whole lot of mindset studies, and only 1% of those people were actually changing their lives, using these mindset common manifestation type techniques and things. Where the behavioral skills side comes into play, this is from a college in Canada called Life Skills College. It's no longer a thing, but it was for a very long time. In Life Skills College, what they did, they basically took folks that have mental challenges like depression and anxiety and things like that, and I think it was like 70% or more of them were actually very heavily depressed to the point of even suicidal. And what this Life Skills Colleges thing did is they actually took behavioral based approaches, and they didn't lose a single life during that time, the 30 plus years in business. And not only that, but those folks, they were able to completely change their lives around, 80% of them. Okay, it's really, really effective. If you want more information on that, I can give it to you. But it's really fascinating. So this is where a lot of this is coming from. Okay, push and play.
That's not just a small improvement, that is a complete game changer. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do we, actually do it? Well, the source material gives us some really practical tools called mind models that are designed specifically to help us make this shift from thinking to doing. The first tool is a simple framework they call MMIBR. And don't worry about the acronym. Just think of it like this. It's a way to become a scientist of your own life. It's a simple, repeatable process for running little experiments on your actions to see what actually works. And here's how it works. It's just 4 simple steps. You start with an intention, like, I want to be more focused at work. Then you pick a specific behavior to test. Okay, for 1 hour, I'll turn off my phone notifications. Then you evaluate what happened and you get a real result. Wow, I finished that report 20 minutes faster. Now you've got actual data, hard evidence to start updating your belief system.
So now that you're running these little experiments and collecting all this data, the next part is absolutely crucial. How do you analyze it? This next model is designed to help you look at your results like a scientist would, not like a self-critic.
It's called the 3 E's, and it's all about shifting your focus away from questions like, was I good or bad, and toward a much simpler question, was my action effective? It forces you to look at the external, observable reality, not your internal feelings about it. and it demands an evaluation based on data, not a bunch of stories or excuses. And here's why these tools are so incredibly powerful. They help you escape one of the biggest, deepest traps in personal development, which is asking the completely wrong question. According to the source, whenever we ask the question why, as in, why can't I ever stick to this plan, we're not actually looking for a solution. Nope. We're usually looking for a justification. It's a question that automatically chains us to our past failures and all the emotions that come with them. And just like that, you're in what the source calls the why hole. It's that endless spiral of self-analysis where you just keep asking, why am I like this, over and over again. You're not looking for a way out, you're just digging yourself deeper into the mud of old stories. So what's the solution? It's so simple. Just change the question you're asking. Instead of that dead-end, why am I like this, you start asking things like, what can I do about this right now? Or how can I test a new behavior? These questions are about the present. They lead to action, and most importantly, they generate that precious data you need to actually change. Okay, so we've covered a lot. If you only remember one single thing from all this, what should it be? It's this. Your beliefs don't change because you yell at them or try to force them. They aren't these stubborn things you have to wrestle into submission. They just update automatically based on the new, compelling evidence you give them through your actions. You don't convince yourself you're a runner, you just go for a run, and then another. And pretty soon, the belief just shows up. So I'll leave you with this challenge. Forget about trying to change your mind for a moment. Instead, ask yourself, what is one small, tiny, testable action you can take today to start gathering some new data and start building a new belief from the ground up?
There we go. Love the video. Love it, love it. It's very, very key, short, concise. Love it to death. So the final question here for you guys, and then of course you guys can feel free to ask questions to me as well. The final question is, who is committed to changing bad behavior in front of the charts? Pretty simple. Go ahead and type a 1 in the chat if you're committed to that. I don't want to see it depends. That's this is the only time I don't want to see depends. Good, good, good. I like it. Lots of ones. Love it, love it. Um, Perfect. Well, let's do it, you know? This is where now James will oversimplify this entire process and just say it's discipline. And he's not wrong. It is discipline. This is just kind of digging into where does that come from and what causes people not to have discipline so that we can be aware of it, notice it, an ambu, right? Cool. What questions do you guys have? I'm going to stop sharing the screen. What do you got? What do you got?
I don't think no questions for me. More just I got to get back at it. About 2 weeks ago, I just had I think on the 10th, I had a bad trading day,
Oof.
which just I shut me down for the week. I was so ticked. I was just so irritated. So I have to, I had to kind of do a reset that week, and then I just got to get back at it, get back on schedule.
I've been there. I've been there. And please know, guys, I used to overtrade a lot. I used to do this when I was learning. Okay. It's a thing. And so Ben, I feel you. I think everybody has had a bad trading day. It kind of ruins their day or even the whole week. I get it. The key is how do you move forward from it or prevent that kind of bad day from happening, right? And
Yeah.
that's what this is all about. 100%. Love it. Love it. Any other questions? Or what other questions, rather?
So Zach, when you say, or I thought the video was excellent. The whole concept I love. So when it says changes in behavior, it goes back to changes in beliefs. So when we get back to the change in behavior, I guess that gets to the nuts and the bolts of how do you change your trading behavior? So just doing that 7 levels deep kind of thing. So how do we where are the nuts and bolts? How do we change our behavior in the trading? So getting better trading behavior would lead to a better belief. And I could resonate with that 100%. But then now how do I get into the behavior. So maybe it gets back to sticking with the
So
trading plan.
yeah,
Um,
the answer is not revolutionary. It's just do it. But it is a little more difficult than that, right? Because if we are talking about an actual addiction, right? It's like if you were to ask someone suffering from an addiction to alcohol and you were to say and they were to say, how do I stop? You were to say, just stop doing it. Like that's it's not that simple, right? And so that's where a NAMPU is so key. So if you identify the actual triggers that cause the bad behavior and you come up with a very specific process for what to do once you notice those bad behaviors, that's how you stop the bad. And I want that to be kind of the focus because I think most traders, I shouldn't say most traders outside our community, anyways. What they'll do is they'll have like a really good trading week, 2 weeks, even maybe even more, maybe 3 weeks, and then they have one stinking day and they just like lose all of it because of over trading, right? And so if we can prevent that, that's the goal, and that's what a NANPU is. So what does the process look like? That's an individual thing. So that's why I didn't have anything on what the process looked like. But some, if you, for example, you feel like there was a hit to your ego because you said the market was going to go up and then it kept hitting you out for break evens or even a loss. And then it went up. And now you're like, oh, I should have been in it. And now you're entering late. And then it's really messing you up, right? Um, if you start to notice that, or if you start to chase the market where you're taking a buy entry, then a sell entry, then a buy entry, then a sell entry, and you're doing that within minutes, right? You start to note it once you have that trigger noticed and you're aware of it and you notice it.
Yeah.
What's your process? Is it closing the laptop? Is it unplugging the computer? Is it walking away and having someone else close your windows? What is that? That's what I want you guys to do. That's kind of your homework. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you.
no problem. Very good question. It is just do it, but it is a little more intricate than that. And this is why I do I do love the Yoda quote, do or do not. There is no try. I had to correct, I was reviewing someone's trades today, and he was like, I was trying to take sells. And I was like, were you trying or did you take sells? Because there's a huge difference there. Brian always says, I love this quote from Brian. Well, I don't know where he got it from, but trying is failing with pride. I love that to death. It is so 100% accurate. If we were to get rid of that word try and just straight up say I didn't do it, boom, that's integrity and accountability right there. And that's something that we've all grown up saying try in order to hide the fact that we didn't do a thing, right? And it's to prevent pain. It's what our brains do. But I would encourage you guys to get rid of the word try for sure. I struggle to stop at 3 losses. For me, forcing the 5 wins, 3 losses, or hit daily targets and done. That would be amazing. Yeah. So then you got to come up with a process for that. What does that look like? And I don't know what that is for you, but for a lot of folks that are doing it, accountability is a big one. We have a gentleman in our community who's doing extremely well, and he's doing a lot of accounts that he's copying to and stuff like that. And he has his entire family involved. So his wife is very well aware of every trade that guy takes. His kids are now involved, and he's their accountability partner, right? Like he's got the whole fam is in on it, and so it's a beautiful thing to see. And he knows when he makes a mistake, and he made one a couple weeks ago. He told me about one of his mistakes, and he's like, my wife. She's not happy with me right now. He's like, I'm kind of in the doghouse and I deserve it. And that's it. And you know what? He recovered more than that the next day. So it's good to have some kind of heavy accountability. And you know what's really hard about that is I don't think we really have that in life in general. Like when I was an engineer, I remember a lot of our software engineers in that company, they outsourced a lot of the actual coding to folks in India. We had a partner company in India, and because they could work at night while we were sleeping, right? So it was like around the clock coding kind of thing. It was a pretty cool process. The problem is they would notice that a chunk of code that should have taken 2 hours was taking 8 hours. according to the timesheets. Was it really taking 8 hours? I don't know, right? So even in the workforce, people can kind of fudge numbers a little bit and not be held accountable to their actual tasks. So this level of accountability we don't really see in other parts of life, and that's part of why can be such a challenge for folks because they're not used to being exposed like that. Like let us see the crap. Let us see your bad trades because that's how you move forward successfully. When done, I switched to a practice account. I had a big loss day early last week. I actually had to reset my eval. Since Thursday, 15 trades, 100%, 9 wins, 6 BEs. Using the toolkit and uploading the trades every day forces me to be responsible to myself. I feel great the last 3 days of trading. Today was one and done. I was grateful for the 13 pips. Beautiful. Yeah, and today was one that you wanted to be one and done because it could have destroyed you. Today was a crazy market. But yeah, that's exactly right. You switch to practice, right? And there's a there's a function on Top Step specifically that when you switch and you can have it set to when you switch an account, you have to acknowledge that you're switching. And that's only so that when you get out of practice and you go back, you have to say, yes, I'm going. It's a little friction point, just enough to maybe tell you to be smart, right? Very cool. Awesome, guys. We still have time for more questions if you got them. What do you got? I hope this is helpful to you. We do have next week, we'll have the master class. It won't be on YouTube. We'll be talking about some very specific trading processes that only you guys have the inside scoop on. So we'll be talking about that next week. Cool. All right. Well, in that case, have a wonderful rest of your Mondays. Thank you guys for hopping in here, and I will talk to you later. Adios.